Aloha, hey, it's Julie Ziemelis, 365 Hawaii, and Real Broker, because I'm a realtor, and so are my friends here also today. Hey, and we're going to introduce Lance and Amber, but just so you guys know what we're doing the good, the bad, and the ugly of moving to Hawaii Island. And I want you guys to know that 365 Hawaii does sponsor this, and my buddies here, Lance and Amber, and I all sell real estate. So yes, so we're going to put that in the very beginning of this video. We're going to tell you a little bit more later on, but we'll start there. So Lance, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Lance Owens with Aloha Real Estate. I've been here in Kona for 24 years, and I've been doing real estate here in Kona for 20 of those 24 years.
There you go, and he specializes in West Hawaii.
And I'm Amber Haley with Real Broker. Gosh, I've been on the Big Island maybe 8 years. And I live in East Hawaii, and I specialize in East Hawaii real estate. Love bringing you the East Hawaii market update. So excited to talk about that side today with you guys.
Yep. And so you guys get two experts on both sides of the island, because one of the reasons we're doing this is that there seems to be a variety of new people who we've been bringing people around on terms of what they should understand and know about this island for a long time. But some of you are brand new and you haven't heard all of our stories. So we're going to give it to you all in today's video. So if you are thinking about moving to this island, I brought Lance, who understands West Hawaii, and I kind of do too, and I'll throw some extra my things in, and Amber, who is East Hawaii all the way, to tell you a little bit about each side, the good, the bad, and the ugly, so you guys can get a better idea in terms of where you might want to think about living, and also where you might be thinking, is island living even for me? Because some of the ugly and the bad might be one of the things you don't want to know about. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with Lance, who's going to give us the good, and then Amber's going to give us the good, and then we're going to do the bad, and the ugly. So let's go. Tell us the good stuff.
Okay, well, we're going to do one at a time with each other? Just go down the line?
No, you start with good.
And I'm going to start with one good?
No, you're going to start with all the good.
I got some notes here, you guys.
Okay,
Sorry. So I don't want to forget everything.
Okay,
that good.
It's going to be
that good.
So when we talked about doing this, is kind of we talked about a shootout. If you guys want to go back and some of the things that we've done, we actually did 22 questions with Amber and 22 questions with Lance, and they talked about their lives here. But this is going to be Lance.
And those went over really good.
They
too,
did.
Right?
People love that stuff
because we shared things problems we run into, right?
Mm-hmm.
I loved watching yours, and you guys do a great job with that.
Yeah. So this is one of those things when people say what realtors will say versus really the people who actually live here will say are two different things. So you guys get kind of like a perspective of both. And so having Lance kind of just give you the rapid fire, what you should know that is really, really good about living here right off the bat. And the same thing with Amber. It gives you guys, I've been there. I've visited for a week. Yeah. Totally different than when you actually are here for any length of time. Yeah. So I'm interested to see what you think are the best things that are.
Okay. And when I talk about it, I'm talking about West Hawaii.
West Hawaii.
And so we're talking about the entire west side of the island here. Mm-hmm. So number one thing is, of course, the stunning beaches. And, you're not going to see stunning beaches right here in Kailua Kona. We have Magics and we have Kahalu Beach, but if you get out along the Gold Coast out there, you're going to get into Hapunas and Makalavena and Kua Bay, and so several beautiful sandy beaches out along the coast there. So I think that's number one. I think we talk about the rich marine life, but I think more so than the rich marine life is we jokingly call this. I had a fishing boat. I didn't have a catching boat. I had a fishing boat here. But going out and fishing along the coast here, we kind of jokingly call it Lake Pacific because the waters are so calm and so easy. And you can go. When I first got here, I went out in a little bay boat, a little 18-foot Sea Ray that you would drive around a lake somewhere. But it was the waters here are so calm typically all the time. So great fishing, great marine life. So if you're into diving, if you're into fishing, if you're into snorkeling, if you're into kayaking, all that stuff I think is really good. They just got a ton of places to go here for that. The laid-back lifestyle. This is one where I'm going to get into a shootout with Amber because I know that site has a very cool laid-back. So I won't jump into that. I'm gonna give that one up. But we do have a laid-back lifestyle here too.
Yeah, a lot more laid back than some of the places in the mainland.
Oh yeah, in the other islands too.
Yeah.
So I think we do qualify for a very laid-back lifestyle here. Cultural experiences, besides now I don't. Yeah, I'm going to talk. I got to stick to my side. Sorry, because I want to mention things on the other side because they've got some really cool. I know cultural things. So
Stay in your lane.
Kona Brew. Okay, they have their festival. That's very cultural to deal with. But what should have went in front of that was a Kona Coffee Festival.
Yeah.
That's very cultural for the Kona area and what we do there. So, and basically our outdoor activities. We have so much sunshine and so many good days that you can do something outdoor every single day of the year.
Yep.
That's my goods.
Okay.
Okay. You know what? It sounds like a good place. But
But
now we're going to shift gears and talk about East Hawaii. So East Hawaii, it's a beautiful place. What we have, I think, and I know it's like not a competition, but I'm just saying.
we're both competitive. It's like, this isn't competition.
We do have like really lush landscaping, and you're not going to find the waterfalls over here.
No waterfalls.
Yeah, the waterfalls are over in like East Hawaii. You've got to drive up waterfall in Hilo. I mean, you literally can be in town, drive up, park, go look at the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. So we have really, really lush landscaping. The Hawaii Tropical Botanical Gardens.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so beautiful. So I think it's just really scenic. It's also a place that has a lot of culture and history, and I know that you mentioned some of your festivals over here, like the Kona Brew Fest and Kona Coffee and all that. But I will say, on the east side, so the Hilo side, we have, I think, the festival of all festivals. I mean, nothing in the state, I believe, tops the Merry Monarch Festival.
I can't. That's why I had to just stop.
Yes.
I had to stick with Kona Brew and Kona Coffee because I'm not going to get that.
Can't claim the Merry Monarch. It is a world-renowned hula competition. People fly in from all over. They take over the town. It's such a special time, and it's just an amazing thing. It's a week-long festivity. It is a real competition, but there's, parades, there's vendors, there's food, just a lot of excitement. I've heard people who talk about who have grown up on this island watching some of these hula competitions from when they were really young and just how much it has meant to them throughout the years. So it's really, really special.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. We do have other festivals and fun times in Hilo too, but that's the big one.
That's the mother of all mothers. Yeah.
Yep. If you're looking for culture, that's when to be there.
That's culture.
Yes.
April.
Yep. So that's always an exciting time. It is coming up. Also, we are less touristy on the east side, which, there are good and bad to that, but there's a lot of good. I think if you're a full-time resident and you don't maybe want to live in all the touristy stuff, so if you want more of like a local vibe and flavor, there's just less tourists everywhere. In general than anywhere on the west side of the island. So we have a lot of really special places, I think, more so than the west side, that are really, they feel special to people who live there, and they're not as well known, and you might not find them in guidebooks, and so that's kind of a fun part of living over there. We do have the University of Hawaii in Hilo. So there's some educational opportunities. There's a lot of really fascinating research that goes on at the university. So that's an exciting place where people can work, people can go to school, and it's just kind of exciting to be around and hear about all the stuff going on at the University of Hawaii. I mean, heck, I even buy seeds from the university for my garden.
Oh, there
They've
you
done
go.
all this research.
You have research.
You
Yeah,
can
research.
order them even online. They'll mail them to you. You can even mail them a check later.
You gotta hook me up with that
paid back.
address. Yeah.
Okay, and probably one of the best things about East Hawaii is that it is one of the most affordable places in the state.
Yes.
Not just compared to West Hawaii, but especially in the state of Hawaii. So if you are looking for a more affordable single-family home, especially, there's not as big of a condo market, but there's a lot of single-family homes. There's a lot of really affordable land, a lot of opportunities for people who want to homestead and have a laid-back lifestyle. I would also say, along with that affordability, there's also a really tight-knit community. People really stick together. There's a lot of, everybody's ohana there. It's family. Hawaii's a really family-oriented place. but it's really all about community on the east side. Not saying it's not on the west side, but I would just say it's because it's got such a local feel, it really, really dips into that. And you can see it on the weekends when you're out in Hilo on the bayfront. You just see the families out there barbecuing together. It's just, it's a part of everything. Family is everything there, and community is everything. We also do have some great outdoor adventures for people. We have Volcanoes National Park. We have some really exciting like nature that will blow your mind there. I can't tell you how many times on just a Tuesday night living in East Hawaii I've gotten to just drive 45 minutes from my house and see nature on display with the most amazing lava shows you've ever seen, and that's really special.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Why didn't you say anything about the sunsets?
Can I have a rebuttal at the end?
So we have really amazing sunrises on the east side. Really, really amazing sunrises. There is nothing like them. You will never see the sunrise in Kona like a sunrise over the ocean in Hilo. Can't emphasize the sun over the ocean enough on the east side. Just saying.
I've never seen a sunrise before.
And so we also have really awesome farmers markets. Again, those are island-wide, but I think nothing is more quintessential Hawaii farmers market than the Hilo farmers market. It is just,
that's true.
It's just iconic.
Yeah.
So, and there's also some great ones. My favorite farmers market in East Hawaii is Maku'u. We also have...
Which one is that one?
it's
way
in
down
Puna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Puna. It's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you're driving from Keau to Pahoa town. You will pass it on the Makai side of the highway if you're going down south. So, yeah, that's a great one. We also have Kalapana Night Market, which is a really exciting place where you can hear music and vendors and, just a lot of local flavor. We already talked about affordability, but also lots of land that's available. If you're looking for a lot of land and you don't want to spend a lot of money, there is more inventory of all kinds of real estates over in East Hawaii than anywhere else on the island. So I will leave it at that. There's a lot more good things than that, but that's a good summation of some of the things that are really standouts.
Okay, so now listen to both of you. Okay, I live in West Hawaii, and there's 3 reasons why I live in West Hawaii. Because the sunsets are amazing.
I totally blew that one.
Wow,
I had a
missed
chance.
that. Okay, so if
That
you
should have
are
been
a
number one.
sunset person like me, you can't even imagine living in a town where you almost can see it, but it's actually moving over you and coloring your skies, all beautiful, but you never can quite see it, which just happens in East Hawaii. But I have to say, my friends who live in East Hawaii, when they post photos in the morning of the sunrise in East Hawaii, I am a little bit jealous. So either you're a sunrise person or you're a sunset person, right? And also the gardening opportunities in East Hawaii are amazing. A lot of people who say, I love to garden, they get their little hands in the soil. They like that. People on this side usually say, I don't want to landscape. They like living on the lava. They don't care. It's dry over here. They want to just go out and enjoy themselves. They want to go biking, hiking, go snorkeling, whatever. They more of an active lifestyle. I will also say I miss youthful energy. I will say in East Hawaii, there seems to be more of a young energy there because people can afford to live there.
Yeah.
Right? Where West Hawaii is turning more into a retirement community, and we have a little bit more of an older crowd. And the older crowd, though, what I like about the older crowd is the fact that they are helping me volunteer to do a variety of things in the community because they can afford to do that because they're retired. Where young people still are trying to raise their children and everything else. So there's just a different, in that sense, an energy here. And our cultural aspects over on both sides reflect a little bit more of that. You're going to see more older people who come to some of the farmers markets in West Hawaii. Up in Waimea, you're going to get a little more of that, the moneyed older crowd. Where in East Hawaii, you're going to get the young energy of people listening. They're dancing to music and the festivals, and they're going to the different farmers markets.
Mm-hmm.
So in that's not really either good or bad. It's the fact that how is it that you want to live your lifestyle? Who are you, and where you want to put your time and energy, right?
Yeah.
So
Totally.
in almost like in a multiple offer situation, how would you respond to what Amber just said in terms of trying to get people to come to West Hawaii versus East Hawaii?
I just got to confess to something really quick, though, because at one point, because I always hear about the sunrises on their side, I did this beautiful time-lapse sunset And then, technology's on these phones. I just played it in reverse and said, boy, look at this sunrise.
I still like
And so it was.
So we've learned, don't believe anything you see.
Yeah, it might be
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
do you have any rebuttal in terms of what Lance said about? You're like, I love East Hawaii, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Oh, do I have anything? Well, let's see. I mean, I don't even know if you did mention the laid back aspect.
Yes,
he did.
I did.
Okay.
Okay.
You guys are like really on the laid back.
Yeah, we really are laid back. Like, truly, there are people who, I mean, there's a lot of different types of people that live in East Hawaii, but there's a lot of artsy people. There's a lot of kind of hippy dippy people. There's a lot of people born and raised there. So, they're on the island pace lifestyle. It is really laid back. There's also a lot of like people who like to live like alternative lifestyles. Like, have you ever heard of like intentional communities or super eco-conscious properties and lifestyles and things like that. That is, so I would say like we do probably take the cake for laid back because, we kind of take it to the extreme.
There you go. I like that. It's good. Okay. And then I'd say
Well,
that,
some-
okay.
I'm sorry.
Well,
Some
say,
might-
East Hawaii and West Hawaii. So we're looking out over like all of our green happy. We've got green happy here too. That we also have a ton of restaurants that actually sit with your feet in the sand. They don't have that in East Hawaii.
Yeah.
We don't.
Do you have any oceanfront restaurants?
I mean,
Lakefront?
the closest we kind of have is Hilo Bay Cafe, and
what's that one?
at why am I blanking on the name?
Yeah, it's at Reeds Bay Ponds.
Oh, we do
yeah.
have Ponds, but we also at the hotel.
The Nani Kalua. No, it's called Nani Loa.
Yeah, the Grand Nani Loa, their restaurant there. Now, none of it's in the sand,
No.
but it's on like Hilo Bay.
Yeah. So there's, and again, different geography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
West Hawaii has the beaches because we don't get the big surf that they get. They get this huge surf that comes and hits against the cliffs and creates these amazing splashes, and it's very dynamic. Where we have more of the, the coastline that comes in, and we have our disappearing beaches on our side too. That there are days where you can sit out there in soft white sand, and 2 months later you could be standing around on lava rocks. You guys don't have that on your side.
Yeah, not as much. I mean, the landscape does change with like the seasons and the tides a little bit, but nothing as extreme as what I see on the west side at, Magic Sands.
Yeah, and
Kua Bay, where the
Kua.
sand does,
Come in, come out, come in,
like
come out.
Houdini.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a good lesson on never to mess with your seawalls and things like that,
Yeah.
too, because nature pushes it back. Nature
Yeah.
takes it away and pushes it back. And when man comes in and builds up seawalls and changes the whole infrastructure of how the design of the ocean works by interfering with it, and all of a sudden, North Shore and Oahu is a huge problem because everybody's put seawalls in.
Yeah.
So we don't see that here because nobody's done that here, but they've done it on the other islands, and it's created havoc for the
Interesting.
beaches. Yeah.
Okay, so I will say, I gotta backtrack a little bit and take some of what I said back. We do have some extreme changes, but they're very different than yours. For example, Pohoiki Black Sand Beach looks very different today than it did
Well,
before.
that's different,
So
okay.
yeah, we did get like a massive. And if you're not familiar, the 2018 eruption completely changed the landscape in East Hawaii. We have acres and acres of new state of Hawaii land, and also that Black Sand Beach looks completely different than it did. There's so much new sand.
Yeah.
there.
And I heard
So-
that they're going to dredge it. They're trying to create the
They,
the dock again.
yes, a dock, which is really important to the local community there. There's a lot of local fishermen that do rely on that and grew up fishing there. So I think that will be overall a good thing for the community putting the dock in.
So that might change again.
And that's been 6 years. There's people have been without that dock for 6 years now.
Yeah.
It's we're going to be close to a generation has grown up without that dock there pretty soon.
So,
it's kinda
speaking
hard.
of the bad, let's talk about lava. So let's start with Amber in East Hawaii about things that might be a little bit bad if you decide to move to their part of the island.
Yeah, so I did talk a little bit about like the fun parts of lava. It puts on a beautiful show. You feel so special just to witness it. However, if you live in East Hawaii, for example, somebody asked me what volcano I live on, and I got to tell them today that I actually live on Kilauea volcano, which is one of the world's most active volcanoes. So I bought a house on that. I was like, this sounds great. So I live there. So that obviously affects life. I mean, every piece of property on the Big Island, to be clear, is in a lava hazard zone, but there's different levels and different levels of activity. And in East Hawaii, you know, speaking of the 2018 eruption, there were hundreds and hundreds of people's homes that were destroyed by lava. So it affects not only, you know, are you at risk for actually losing your house, but it can affect your ability to buy a house in East Hawaii depending on what lava hazard zone it's in. It can affect your financing and your ability to get insurance, which that is actually becoming more and more of an issue, the insurance, than ever before. Even during a non-eruption period, there's a lot of insurance companies that have pulled out. So it's just really, really limited. So that can affect, you know, you might see something really affordable, but you might not actually be able to buy it or want to buy it once you look into those risks with the lava. So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. And then give me a couple more.
Bad. So we have a lot more rain, which rain is great. That's why it's lush and beautiful, but we have to combat overall, generally speaking, a lot more rainfall and humidity than the west side. So it can be challenging. That can cause issues for people with like mold in their house, or if you like to live outside in the sunshine all the time, you will get a lot of sun in East Hawaii, but you're going to get periods of a lot of rain too. So a lot of gray sky days overall compared to the west side. So that is something to keep in mind. I would say there's also a lot more limited job opportunities on that side of the island overall, because a lot of our local economy is based on tourism and we have less tourism. And it's just an island in general, so there's less opportunities in general. So that can sometimes be a struggle if you don't already have a job and you're looking for one. It can be kind of hard. You can also feel really isolated sometimes. Living in East Hawaii, if you're not really intentional about finding your community, a lot of the property is really rural and remote, and isolation can be a thing for people. So it's good to get like plugged in and get to know your neighbors, but it doesn't always happen naturally if you don't put effort into it, if you're relocating, at least to East Hawaii. We do seem to have a struggle with like infrastructure and services, particularly like in the Puna district. I would say like a lot of the roads are underserved. One of the big issues coming up right now is that we only have one highway out of Puna, which is, you know, pretty concerning the more you think about it, when we have like active lava zones, and there could be other like disasters that happen, and there's really only one way out. And I'll tell you, as somebody who has like been stuck on that highway when there's been a really bad traffic accident, and it can, you know, shut it down for hours and hours, and sometimes you can get out by these little side country roads, but it takes so long. And if there was, you know, fire or lava or something, that is alarming. So lack of infrastructure.
Now,
Hopefully that they're looking at that. You're saying it's one of the largest cul-de-sacs in America because it's trapped by one thing. So they are looking at that to try and like, right? They're looking at ways to try and like help bridge that with other type of access roads.
So let me ask you something. Because of its location and it's set up like a cul-de-sac, isn't it going to create a problem no matter where they put the road? Because they can't really go anywhere else that could, let's just say a lava flow is coming down and it was going to block that road. It would probably block whatever other escape route there was.
Probably would, but you would have more options to, you know, hopefully get out. And have if everybody had to exit Puna, you could get everybody out sooner. Usually people have notice with eruptions, but, you know, not always. In 2018, there were some people who went to work for the day and came home and they couldn't get back into their house. They couldn't, you know, their pets were still there and all of that. So that clearly wasn't that much warning. Some people had, you know, not that much. So yeah, it can be a safety thing, but you're right. It's not like a perfect solution, especially with the lava. We don't know where it's going to flow.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And wait, just real quick. Just so you know, we don't have pyroclastic flows where all of a sudden they say lava is erupting and everything's like gone. Usually it's a slow flow. So that we can like have some time to know that it's coming, and so you can get out.
But I am careful about saying that it always is, because I used to think that, but it has reached the ocean within 2 hours historically in an eruption that they know of. And I did see some footage of the 2018 eruption with that lava lake or river just. I don't know what they clocked it at, but it was fast. I didn't know it could get that fast. But, you know, overall, it's not usually like this really fast thing. There's usually warning. And especially like the days going up, they'll raise the alert level because they can know like earthquakes and stuff. But nothing's, you know, fully certain.
Right, it's nature.
It's nature. We do have a lot of pests. There are pests everywhere on the island, but I'd say in particular in East Hawaii, I think fire ants are probably more of a problem, probably in the Puna district than anywhere else on the island. So that is something you have to learn to live with and combat. And there can also be a lot of connectivity issues with like internet and cell reception. For example, since we're real estate agents, we all drive around all different parts of the island all the time, right?
Yeah.
And people are calling us all the time, right? Because, nobody's on call like a realtor's on call 24/7. So there are days where I'm working, especially in this one part of Lower Puna, and there's just no reception. Like almost, I don't know any carrier that has clear reception all the way down there. So if I'm going to a house, especially and they don't have Wi-Fi I can connect to, people know like I'm going to be out of range probably for the day. If I'm down there for the day, no one's going to be able to get a hold of me. If you live down there, you're going to be limited, and it's usually fine if you can get internet and everything at your place. You're usually fine with that, but you know that in emergency situations that can be an issue. I know in 2018 at my house, I don't get good reception even at my house without Wi-Fi, and the power went out when we had the earthquakes with the eruption, and I couldn't get connected to anything. I was like, if there was somebody trying to get a hold of me or somebody trying to tell me important information, I have nothing. So that is a thing. We do also have probably albizia trees during tropical storms. I don't really hear people talk about that in West Hawaii as being an issue.
Get those here, but
It's funny because you see that there's a 50-foot tall Norfolk pine over there. Those have a really strong root structure. So even in crazy winds, they kind of go with it. But albizia, because they're not from Hawaii, they were not supposed to stand up to hurricane force winds.
Yeah.
And so when they get hit, they topple over.
Yeah. So there have been periods of time that people in the Puna district especially have been without power for, I think I heard 2 weeks during one of the really, really bad storms because the albizia is just down, down, down. And if you don't know what an albizia is, it's a giant monster of a tree. It's beautiful to look at. It looks like you're in Jurassic Park, but they are invasive. And if you're buying a house and it has albizias all around it, that is something you want to keep an eye on because that can be really expensive to remove. It can be a safety issue because they do not have those strong roots. They will snap down
fall over
on power lines, on houses. So that can be a safety concern. And that's something that we see a lot in East Hawaii.
I gotta ask you, when I go down Saddle Road coming into, they've killed off all the ones that you can see from the highway. Is there a county project that's killing those off?
You know what? That is a good question that I should look into. I'm not sure who killed those ones off, if it was private residents or if it was the county.
Well, I heard the county had given people millions of dollars to go in and kill the trees because when Hurricane Lane, I think, came in, one of the hurricanes, so many albicias had fallen that they realized obviously it's a problem.
Probably when they lost the power.
They took down all these helico lines. Yeah. So telling people, hey, we'll give you money to help get those off because in the long run, that stops some of the millions of dollars of economic damage that happens when those fall down on the roads. And they crush the, during that time frame, they probably fixed them, but you could see the, on the highway guardrails.
Yes.
All the way down where they had fallen, just smashed into the guardrails.
I remember for years, I'm wondering, why is the guardrail been out towards the highway? What happened?
The
trees falling over, bending it out.
But we haven't had a really bad hurricane recently, but I think the island is starting to say, okay, we know what could happen, and so let's mitigate this stuff before it happens. And so I do think that trying to get some of the albicias down before that happens again is one of the things that we do.
A big theme with both the good, the bad, and the ugly of everywhere on this island is the nature. The county.
Sorry, Mitch.
Oh, man. We should edit that into its own little short piece of content there. That's funny. The county. The nature, because it is so powerful that, it gives us good, beautiful things like sunsets and sunrises and lava to look at, but it is a force.
It is
a force.
It is a force.
Yes. So you have to be prepared for emergencies and for nature and all of that.
Yeah. There's never a dull moment on this island.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's yours?
All right. I should pull up my notes again so I don't forget. So some of my negatives are her positives. So we're going to jump into the first one, the high cost of living here.
Yes.
It's ridiculous on this side. For our workforce housing, it's unaffordable. You know, it's a terrible thing. I see 2-bedroom condos going for $2,500 a month.
Somebody actually said we have a 2-bedroom, 2-bath going for $4,000 a month.
Yeah.
That's just nuts.
And so how do you do a service industry job and afford that kind of money a month? And it gets deeper than that, because it's not just afford it. They have a formula that you have to meet to be able to qualify for this rent. Mm-hmm. And I think that formula is something like double what the rent is or something, you know. I think it's actually a little bit more. I think it's 2/3 of it you need to make. So times it, you know. So it's that in itself is killing people. I know property managers that are going out and having to ask their owners, you know, can we reduce this? These people don't fit it, but we can't get anybody that does. So they're going to have to put multiple people in there and do that. So that's terrible. That's not a good problem to have. That's terrible.
Yeah.
So, and that's the buying, that's renting, that's whatever you want to do. So that, I think, is one of the worst ones.
High cost of living.
You know, another big one is limited infrastructure. You know, we've got all these roads that almost go through, and if they just went a few hundred feet further, we could get it would alleviate some of the traffic down on the highway and things like that. So just getting the infrastructure done. And another thing is getting sewage and water. You know, we've got issues with getting water, and we've got issues with getting sewer, and we'll get into that in part of the ugly part, but that's one of the things. And you know, you talked about that one way in, that one way out of for Lava Zone. You know, that's what I was asking about, if you would be stuck there. I remember in 2000, and I think it was 2000, we had a big tsunami warning in 11. It was after the one in 2006. And we just happened to be doing a staycation down at it was the Sheraton Keoho Resort at that time, and they evacuated us. I sat on cam 3 for 2.5 hours trying to get out of there. They didn't open up 2 lanes where they should have. They should have opened up, just getting everybody out of there. I watched... but I watched the police cars going up and down the other lane for an hour, not just racing down with the sirens blaring and everything else, and we were all just stuck there. I didn't know at the time, if you're above the 4th floor in a concrete building like that, you're considered safe.
Right, you just pulled over.
I should have just stayed in the hotel room. Yeah, because we were up on the 4th or 5th floor. So I didn't know that that's actually considered an area that you would be safe at. So I should have done that, hindsight. Yeah. And especially that hotel, it's a big concrete hotel, so that was good. So that's a bad one. That again, when we talk about Mother Nature, it's funny because one of the big things is traffic congestion during the tourist season, and we have a season for that, and that's the snowbirds. We get the snowbirds on our side. So we talked about a little bit more. In the beginning, you talked about us being more of a retirement community. Well, the people that are retiring here, typically they're done with the winters, and if they haven't bought here and they're not retired here, they're coming here in the winters to get away from shoveling snow and dealing with salted roads and things like that. So when Thanksgiving to Easter is what I call it, and so the traffic's a mess. It's a nightmare. So that's bad. Lack of job opportunities.
Nope, like just like you.
Yeah. So we got the same thing. What do we have? We got service industry here. Right. We don't have any high-tech jobs. No. So it's hard. A lot of our kids are leaving for high-tech jobs and things like that. We have very limited. You've got some of the things going on at OTech, and you've got but there's very little. You got stuff at Mauna Kea, at the telescopes, but they block that. So to get any kind of high-tech jobs or something we can get in here, we just don't have it. If you don't want to be in the service industry, what are you going to... I mean, can you think of anything like really quick off the top of your head? Coffee farmers, like, you're not going to get rich doing that.
That's not very profitable.
Yeah. That's a hobby.
I got one. My son is in college for environmental studies, and one of his focuses is going to be on water resource management. And so he might be able to come back here and help with the county in terms of water resource management, because water is always an issue wherever you go, right? And I think that young people have a hard time here. In fact, that's why I'm saying we don't see a lot of youthful energy on our side of the island, because there's just not good, meaningful, decent jobs for them to come. And I know that they're trying to bring some different things in, but it's not a vibrant space for young people who want to get smart And again, it's like it's if you're an entrepreneur though, I've seen people start new businesses here that are freaking amazing. They're smart, intelligent, clever, driven, passionate people that say, I want to start my new business in consignment stores, or I have a couple of chef friends. They want to create a new concept experience around restaurants, and they bring that here. And I think that if you're an entrepreneur, you can try and make some of that work, but usually it's toward the tourist industry. And so they go, okay, how can I tap into the money that comes into the Western Hawaii, and how can I use that for my entrepreneurial aspect? But in terms of your average schmo jobs, it's hard. But I'll say that they're always hiring teachers, firefighters, police officers, tradespeople, right? So some of those kinds of jobs. But in terms of
tradespeople
amazing new ChatGPT AI developers, they ain't happening here unless you want to work from home.
And so here's the part that kills me too on that, right? So the guy that invented the heart valve, right, lives here, and the guy that invented ChatGPT
is like right down the street.
And you've got all of these people from all these high tech industries.
Salesforce.
Yeah, Salesforce. They all live here, and they're kind of retiring here, and they're keeping their businesses on the mainland. So at what point do they crack and start opening up some of these fields out in the lava fields? Why not put in a high-tech industrial park where the land is cheap?
Because then you need housing and water.
Yeah. So
it's like a thing.
So it just circles around, goes back to that. And, of course, the risk of natural disasters. That's my last one on the bad. We do get, even though we've never had in recorded history a hurricane hit this side of the island, but we have had tsunamis hit this side of the island.
Right. And earthquakes.
And earthquakes. We get the earthquakes here, the tsunamis, and
we get some crap weather sometimes too. The Kona lows.
Yeah, the Kona lows have been worse than when I've seen the hurricanes hit the other areas of the island. So we do have that, and those earthquakes have done damage here significantly. So it's But
that's what we always say is there's there's always something going on. We've had dengue fever outbreak here.
Yeah.
Right. We've had. It seems like we don't go 6 months without something crazy going on around here.
Yeah.
And so in that, if you're thinking about moving to an island, there's things here that you just have to deal with. Just yesterday, we had flooding on Kuakini.
I couldn't believe it.
They put out a warning that we were going to have flooding for 3 days, nothing happened. Then they don't put the flood out, and all of a sudden, the flooding in Kuakini.
Yeah.
So we have random rain bursts that caused that flooding here. Right.
Yeah.
That's weird. Yeah, it was funny because yesterday when I was headed up to go home to Koloko, like you say, we've had 3 days of warnings and nothing, and they call off all the warnings and say we're done.
And then
I was going home and it was flooded. That dip when you're going up Hidalani,
I believe it,
full of water. I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen that dip full of water there. And then there was lightning and thunder before it came over here up at my house in Koloko.
Yeah.
I will say Hawaii is really good at predicting the weather after it's happened.
Yeah.
But not before. If you are looking at a weather forecast, even if you're just coming on a vacation to Hawaii, most people panic because they look and they're like, it says rain every day or it says sun every day. Tell you how many times I've driven into Hilo and it's supposed to be 0% rain and it's just downpouring all day, and then the opposite too. It's very hard to predict.
Yeah. You can't, people on the mainland, they watch their weather channel like it's going to happen. Like that's a predictive experience from here. That didn't happen here. Yeah. It's a fly-by-night. Whatever the hell happens, you better just enjoy it all because you just never know what's going to happen.
We don't cancel things, especially in East Hawaii. Maybe you guys do in West Hawaii.
No.
You don't cancel things for the rain because you're just not going to be able to ever make plans. It's rain or shine. We're having this barbecue outside. Like, life goes on.
Yeah.
You got to just roll with what you get.
Yep.
You know what kills me though? Is when they shut down the island 3 days before a hurricane, because they have to do that in Florida. They have to do that in Louisiana. People got to travel hundreds of miles and the highways are blocked. We got no place to go. Why are we shutting down 2 and 3 days prior to the hurricane? They shut down the schools.
Yeah.
So then the parents have to stay home and watch the kids. And it's like, there's no reason for it.
And then
we're going up the hill when it
day
hits.
ever.
Yeah.
Every single time that we have expected a hurricane in the last 15 years since I've been here, you can expect the best day you've ever seen. Clear, calm, blue skies. You can jump in the ocean. It's amazing. Everyone's like off school, off work.
They've shut off the
waiting.
beaches. They've closed it down.
There's a lull in the whole weather pattern where it's usually hot, sunny, and warm. And then East Hawaii, this is what happened in Hurricane Lane. Hilo got 50 inches in one day,
That's
and we
insane.
got nothing.
Yeah.
So that's how crazy it is between the weather patterns
It's
on east and west side.
different.
Yeah. Okay, so ugly. Who wants to go first on ugly?
Well, okay, I did mention a lot of my ugly. Probably the ugliest that's very relevant to life was a lot of the changing of landscape literally due to lava flow. That can really affect people's life. But one thing I did not mention that can be pretty ugly, and it will happen at some point, is the east side of the island, Hilo in particular. If you want to know all the science behind it, go to the Tsunami Museum in downtown Hilo. But it is one of the most prime places on planet Earth for tsunami disaster. And disaster is struck, and it will happen again. It's just a part of the geography of, you know, the east side of the Big Island. So tsunami evacuation zones, like if you live in one, or if you just live over there in general, it's good to like have a plan and understand that tsunami threat is real, and you know, there will be a big one again at some point, and you know what to do and what to look for if you're buying real estate, that you need to be, you know, aware of where the tsunami zones are. So that's a big one. And also I will say I have emphasized the affordability of the east side of the island, but I wouldn't be doing it justice over there if I didn't also emphasize that probably one of the ugliest things about living on a local side of an island where people were born and raised, you know, they were everywhere, but particularly there, a lot of people have like native rights to the land. They still can't afford to live, because when you really break it down, the cost of living compared to how I've seen home prices rise in Hilo, for example, the cost of living in Hilo, I actually looked it up. It's 47% higher than the national average for housing, and 112% higher for utilities, 52% higher for groceries. All of that adds up. And so when you're looking at these very limited job opportunities that we have already, and you have hardworking families that, again, a lot of them born, raised, some of them native rights to the land, doing everything, you know, working full time. They're not sitting at home, you know, with families to support it. It's really hard still. Yeah. So even if you're relocating here, like, it can be really, really hard, even with the affordability comparatively to everywhere else.
Yeah. It's expensive to live here.
Yeah.
For sure. You know how many people I can say that, it's no more expensive than California or, like, you know, New York. I'm like, it adds up in different ways. Between the property taxes, sometimes then we have tax upon tax upon tax.
GE tax, they don't have
everything
GE
you
tax
touch in terms of like services, it just keeps adding up. So we have like actually a 12% tax, and then also we have people, and again, it's probably not as bad as like in East Hawaii as it is in West Hawaii. People save up for an entire year to spend a week here, and they can throw all kinds of money at groceries. And those of us who actually live on the island have to put up with that in terms of grocery prices. And I think that, I don't know if it's any, I mean, really at the end of the day, it's not that much less expensive to buy food in East Hawaii than it is in West Hawaii.
Actually, I was just visiting one of our newest grocery stores over there, and I would say it's probably the most expensive grocery store I've been to on the island, including Waikoloa, including downtown Kona, because it's expensive for the retailers to bring, you know, get the groceries all the way out there. It's actually more expensive. Even the same grocery store chain, the prices will be higher all the way in Pahoa, Hawaii, where the cost of living otherwise is lower, and also overall probably the median income is a lot lower. You're paying even more.
Then it's even more shocking when you pay $2.50 for a thing of yogurt.
Your fuel, like I said, your electricity, your fuel, water is the only thing that's not expensive here. Yeah.
Well, get this. To get the water, if you have to pump it, you have to pay your electricity to pump the water, so the water can be expensive, and that affects a lot of the farmers, which is the reason why we have a lot of food that is actually expensive, because they have to put the electricity on trying to get the farm. So
yeah, and then, you know, if we travel off the island, we're flying to and from Hawaii anytime you go anywhere else in the world. Anything you bring to the island is expensive, especially stuff that's like maybe more hazardous to ship, that needs like a lithium battery. If you want
just get
particular
that shipped
furniture.
here.
It's expensive. Everything has an upcharge, or you can't get it. Or you can't even get it sometimes.
Yeah.
It's I call it the Aloha tax.
Yeah.
You know, it's the price of paradise, and I get people that won't even ship to me, and I'm like, look, I know it's going to be expensive. Don't be afraid to tell me that $100 part's going to cost me $200 to get here. I get it, you know, because I need it and I have to have it. And I've actually gotten a hold of owners of companies and things before, and said, you're not going to shock me. Just charge me. call me with a quote. I'll pay you right then and there over the phone.
Yeah,
I'll pay
sometimes you need
I
a
need
specific
it.
thing.
Yeah.
Or you
I
gotta
need toys
get
for
it
my motorcycle.
yourself from the mainland and
Yeah.
bring it back with you, or ship it yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I would say-
Amazon Prime doesn't ship everything free to
It does
Florida,
not.
you guys. So
And
don't.
Not in 2 days.
Right. Yeah.
Not
And
today.
and also, I think what I've heard from a variety of people, and I think you guys will agree with me. If people on the mainland sometimes don't realize how easy they have access to everything. Right? There's this, there's that, there's that, there's that, and they can get this, that, and everything else. You come to Hawaii, and it's like this. This is all that you get 3 choices. You pick it today because it's not going to be here tomorrow. You got to pick it. So if you come with the expectation of you can get whatever you want, anytime you want, however you want, the best thing, you're going to be solely disappointed.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't happen here. You just have to. You have to kind of say, okay, take a breath. I guess I'll take that. Thank you.
You know, one of the big things with a lot of the home warranties, right, that they give to people, they wanted 3 estimates and stuff.
Yeah.
I stopped giving them to people 15 years ago because you can't get 3 people to come out and get an estimate. It just frustrated clients more than to just go down to Lowe's and buy a new washer or dryer or stove or something because they couldn't get the estimates. They couldn't get the tradesmen here to work
Right.
it.
Yeah. Appliance repairman. If you actually are an appliance repair
Yeah.
person on the mainland, you probably have a very good job here if you guys came.
Samsung, they told me I had issues with my brand new stuff. Everything does. This isn't a bash on them at all. I love my products. But they have nobody here to fix them. They told me to cut off my cord and to scrape off my serial number, the little tag, and to mail it to them, and they cut me a check for a brand new appliance.
Yeah.
That was the fix.
Yeah. Just so you guys know, this is a thing.
Yeah.
This is a thing. I think there's one person in East Hawaii who can fix Samsung, and I will say I usually don't promote those like warranties you can buy on stuff, but this is a place that it sometimes pays off because if they can't fix it, they'll
Yeah,
replace it.
exactly. So that's the thing is like if you do buy an appliance from an appliance place, I've always no warranties, but in these
But in
cases,
some
because they can't fix it in a certain amount of days, they have to replace it.
Yeah. And we get a lot of, and I don't know how bad it is on East Hawaii, but in West Hawaii, we get a lot of sea salt, sea spray, ionization, and it gets into the electronics. And so getting a warranty on your appliances actually is a very smart thing. This is going to save you hundreds of dollars because a lot of the times these appliances will go off within 3 years. And usually you can replace your appliance by the time that the warranty would have worn out because of our, with the weather that brings in all this salt corrosion. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
the good, the bad, and the ugly.
That's it.
okay, but one thing you guys didn't really talk about was the cockroaches.
That's definitely in the ugly category.
Very ugly. So we were talking this before we started filming that some people can't take the concept of flying cockroaches. It's out of their realm of comfortability. They're never going to get it. When I first moved here and they were flying around and getting in my hair and I was screaming just like everybody else. And now my husband literally grabs it, shakes it, and throws it out. No problem. You almost have to be ninja about how you deal with pests on this island.
Yeah, you will not do well here if you cannot handle seeing a cockroach.
Yeah.
Or centipede too.
Or centipede.
Centipede or cockroach.
yeah.
And
either
they're
one, but
big.
Yeah, the centipedes are big, and I literally,
They're all big, all the
I've
best.
seen scream-worthy, amazing centipedes, cockroaches, spiders.
Yeah.
You know what? Every time I say anything on Facebook, people who have lived here forever will always say, "What did you think by moving to a tropical island that you weren't going to see any of that?" So that's one thing too. This is not Southern California light. This is not Newport Beach. This is a place where, yes, the natural world comes in contact with human beings on a daily basis.
Yeah, I thought it would
Yeah,
fly right in my face.
Yeah.
I was trying to have a conversation with a group of people, and I'm like, stop it.
You ever, like when they swarm, you ever been caught in one of those swarms? Like one night there were 7 of them just
Oh my
coming up the
gosh.
middle of the night. I'm like, well, I had never seen that. I'd been here probably about 8 years before I
Yeah.
saw my first.
No, but I
swarm
have
of
seen
it.
the termite swarm.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
a whole
yeah.
other
Yeah.
whole other one.
yeah.
Termites.
And then
black
when she was-
bugs, the little black bugs.
and
yeah,
also
swarm.
when she was talking about the fire ants, those are painful little buggers,
Yeah.
and they are now like they
You can't even see them.
they're so small
they're so
and they
small.
hurt. Now
I
I'd
mean-
say cockroaches don't hurt. They don't.
Cockroaches
They
don't
just
hurt.
are ugly and yucky and
Centipedes,
bleh.
They
fire
freak
ants.
you out.
Centipedes might bite
creepy.
you, but the big ones usually just run off and they're just trying to do their own thing. That's fine.
Yeah.
And then the cane spiders, they don't bite. They're fine too. So for the most part, there's a lot of benign things on this island that we don't have bears attacking people. I read the
that's
news the other day
interesting,
that a cougar jumped on somebody who was riding their bikes in Washington and mauled her face. That ain't happening here. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But on this bad thing is the fact that yes, we've got stinging, biting things like fire ants and things in the ocean.
And we don't have no
sometimes.
freeze. We don't have no cold that makes them
take 'em
start
down.
over. Restart the next year, right? It's just constant. There's no stopping of it.
Yeah.
How come nobody mentioned coqui frogs?
I mean, now I just can't stop thinking of things. I don't know why anybody.
Yeah, the coqui frogs
Yeah.
get this.
Yeah, I was
Whenever I go,
wondering.
who does not want a little outside their window? So many people also say it's the music of the night.
Yeah, some people love it, but some people it is a total deal breaker. And some people, I have met people that are very repulsed by frogs. They thought it was cute when they thought it was birds or something else,
many
and then they found
people-
out it was frogs.
How many people said, "What are those night singing birds you have?"
I know.
I've been asked that question. I'm like, we don't have night singing birds.
So frogs.
And I Google, chirping coqui frogs, and they're like,
And they-
yeah, that's it.
Little frogs. Yeah.
Let me show you what it is.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll tell you guys something funny about Eric and I. We had never actually been to the Big Island of Hawaii before we decided to buy a house here. So we didn't know any of this. Any of anything you guys are even nothing. And we show up and we're doing the whole oh, it's beautiful. What's this lava field? And why isn't there a bike path from here to here, like Venice Beach? And then we get to Keauhou. We're like, oh, this is great. And then I think the first thing we saw that was kind of shocking was feral goats. We didn't,
Oh, yeah.
did not
People
know
don't
that
realize.
there's feral goats on this island and they're on the golf course. We're like, what the hell?
Goats, pigs, cows.
Goats, pigs, cows.
Everything.
So there's a feral experience that's going on here. But I'd say that the biggest thing that shocked the crap out of us,
It's YouTube. You can say it. Say it out loud.
goddamn cockroaches. So, and the spiders kind of there's just a couple in the garden, but the big ones, the cane spiders, I didn't see them actually for 5 or 6 years. They were up in the rafters. They're really not your thing. And coqui frogs only showed up in the last 5 or 6 years, right? And the fire ants, sadly, have only showed up in the last 4 or 5 years as well. So at least it wasn't that big of a deal. But for the most part, people think that paradise is because they sit on the beach with their little Mai Tai, right? And when you start to live here for any longer than that week, 7 days that you think that it's so cool, then you start to see some of the things: the traffic, the affordability, the high cost of living, the lack of young people. East Hawaii, you start seeing more of why does it look like people are struggling, right? What's going on with, I just got my car broken into.
Yeah.
So,
The
have our
one thing I
things.
didn't mention that hit all 3 of them, and it was controversial, Iron Man.
Oh, Iron Man.
So,
Love it or you hate it?
what is I am? And it's like, and it hits all 3 categories, and I just want to touch on all 3 categories because the good of it is it brings a lot of people to the a lot of economy. It's very high energy. If you've ever sat there at that start finish line and watched these people, the determination to run
That's
an
where I
Ironman
see my
race.
young people.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing. It's kind of to me it was a checkpoint in life. I think the first time that I actually was sitting down there at that finish line and watching these people come in that had given so much and trained so hard and so much, and then the bad of it is them in their G-strings or their Speedos in the grocery store shopping. It's horrible, you
Or
guys.
the
It's
fact
not
that
something you
they're
ever
training on
want
the
to
road
see.
and they don't give a shit about the
Yeah.
road rules.
Yeah.
So funny. I'm trying to think of something is equally controversial. The dating market.
Yeah, if you're a
Yeah.
single woman
Single.
here, right? Come on, say it. It's true.
It's true. It's limited. Inventory
limited.
low.
Yeah.
You have to import.
I've heard I didn't break up with my boyfriend. I just lost my turn with him. Is that?
Oh.
Have you heard that before?
Oh yeah, it's an island, so
Yeah, because it's not an easy market or boyfriend girlfriend, because like you say, it's very limited. It's a small.
It's so limited that there's a Facebook group for women to get on to talk about the guy that they're dating to make sure they're not dating.
Are we
somebody
dating the
else.
same guy?
Yeah, exactly.
Probably.
Right. So there's, there's part of life living on an island. It
Yeah.
also has that aspect of it.
Yeah.
So, but okay. So now you guys have a little bit more insight into what it's like to live on both sides of the island. And if you guys have further questions, obviously dump them in the comments. comments, and we'll try and jump in. But you can also contact Amber if you want to learn more about buying houses on the other side of the island, East Hawaii, because we're sitting here in the sunset glow on West Hawaii.
Yeah.
And then also...
Be in the shadows if you're
That's
going
right.
to East Hawaii right now.
Lance, not only does he,
rain.
he sells land in West Hawaii, but he also specializes in horses and
Equestrian properties
equestrian
and agricultural properties, and we do a lot of condos too. It's just in the small market, we all have to be an expert in all of those fields, right? I mean, I think we all.
And you're
do
really
that.
on top of a lot of local legislation.
Yeah, that's right.
I try to stay on top.
Yeah, we
of
didn't
that.
talk about the cesspool legislation, but that's for another day. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel. These guys are always bringing in amazing information every single month. Amber does the East Hawaii real estate update, and Lance does the West Hawaii update. And we like to come together sometimes to do like kind of like this little mishmash of information. But we also have once a month we do our island-wide real estate update, and we bring in other realtors from around the island as well, and we talk about the mortgage market too. We have a mortgage expert, so that is also on this channel. And also, if you want to join us live, because it's Zoom, you can actually contact me and I can actually get you set up so you can be part of our ohana. Go to 365hawaiiliving.com, join the ohana, and we totally give you guys community, more information, insights, Facebook groups, and also access to these guys who will give you more information about their different parts of living on this island successfully. So, with that,
With that,
thank you, ladies.
Thank you, guys.
Again.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Thank you. Aloha.